Hi, it's Steph, and today I bring you all the way to the beautiful Azores, to an island called San Miguel. I'm actually here on vacation with my family, and today we're visiting a beautiful botanical garden that is in the center of the city of Ponta Delgada. So I am going to take you around and we are going to check out this beautiful botanical garden together. Botanical gardens in general are very green spaces, and this one is no different. But all of the different green plants with the different textures and shapes of foliage really add a lot of layers of interest to this garden space. We've just been walking around and exploring, and this place is amazing. It has so many little caverns and caves and turns and bends with steps, and around every corner is a surprise. So I will go through and try to show you as many of the plants that I can identify as possible, and you're just going to be taking a walk through this botanical garden with me. In this particular area, there is a ton of different varieties of ferns. Most of these I believe to be maidenhair ferns. But just in this space, I can see at least 4 or 5 different types of ferns. There's this variety here. And back under this large palm, there's another type of fern. And even back in that area there, you can see some with broader leaves and foliage. And even in this corner here, you can tell that there are several combinations of ferns in this particular spot. And all of them working together as a group look really beautiful. The vantage point from this area in this cave overpass they have is gorgeous. You get to see the top of all of the beautiful palm trees, as well as the curves and all of the ferns down below. Here on the island of San Miguel, you will find blue hydrangeas like this everywhere. These are the macrophylla or the mop head type hydrangeas. And while there are other colors, pink, white, and blue on the island, you will primarily find the blue. And this would mean that the island has very acidic soil, because the more acidic the soil, the more blue the hydrangea. But they are absolutely beautiful sight. And this beautiful plant behind me, or what looks to be a tree, I initially thought was a banana tree, because in fact, here on the island of San Miguel, the 2 fruits that they grow the most of are bananas and pineapples. In fact, we visited a local pineapple plantation, and it was quite interesting, and I had no idea that it took 2 years to grow a whole pineapple. So I have a whole newfound appreciation for that delicious fruit. But this here is actually a birds of paradise. It's not a banana tree like I initially thought. And it's quite interesting to see how large a birds of paradise plant actually gets in a subtropical climate. We're all used to seeing the plant, the house plant, that's usually about a floor-sized plant that maybe gets 3 to 4 feet tall. And I suppose they could get a lot larger with proper care. But to see one this large that actually looks like a tree was really cool. Chinese hibiscus is another shrub that you're going to find all over the island of San Miguel. And right now they are all budded up and getting ready to explode, full of blooms. Right in this area here, there are 3 different colors. There is a light pink with a red eye in the center. There's also this double roughly yellow variety, and there's a double ruffle pink over to the side there. They're really beautiful. I found some Chinese wisteria. Now, wisteria is a beautiful plant to look at, but it is a little bit tricky to have planted in your garden. In the US, there's a variety called Amethyst Falls wisteria that I believe is a little more tame for home gardens. But the Chinese wisteria in our area in the United States can be pretty invasive, so you want to be careful about where you plant it. It is pretty beautiful, and a lot of people like to use it as a trailer or on arches, and it has a wonderful fragrance. It smells very similar to lilacs, and this one happens to have some blooms on it. But it looks like they have plenty of space here in the botanical garden to let it grow wild and be really beautiful. The new foliage will have this really light orange coloring, almost a little bit of pink to it, and then as it ages, it'll turn more green. And this is what the blooms look like. It's a cascading bloom of purple petals. Found a really beautiful red hibiscus, and it kind of matches my dress today. It seems like the ants really like it as well. Probably the nectar. When creating a garden, we usually like to create pockets or groupings of plants that we repeat throughout the space to keep the visual interest going. And here at the Antonio Borges Botanical Garden, they've done that with the use of bamboo. As I've been walking through the garden, they have several groupings of these bamboo plants that have gotten really large, and the canes really make such a visual impact. And I've made an interesting observation as I've been looking at this bamboo. It looks like the island people like to declare their love for one another by carving onto the bamboo canes here. This vibrant red tree really pops against all of the green in this garden. And when I came over, I thought that this was a European tricolored beech. I actually have one in my garden that looks really similar. But as I got closer, the plant tag on it has a different name, but I will get in on the tag so you can check it out. This cool plant here is called the silver leaf princess flower, and what drew my interest to this was the fact that it has very kind of fuzzy foliage similar to a lamb's ear. It's really pretty. And I have a large grouping of it here. And right here they have a grouping of cordyline. This is actually an annual back home, and I have it in my summer containers as a centerpiece at the moment. Here is another plant that I have growing back home. This is an evergreen, and it is called sea green juniper. While this one is quite large, they might have more than one planted here. This is a great evergreen if you want to prevent erosion. I actually planted 2 of these on a hillside area in my garden, and while mine is fairly small, I'm happy to see how beautiful it can get as it grows. This garden here features a number of these caves and throughways that look like caves, which makes this a really fun place to explore. This is a great botanical garden to do some hiking in because there are many different vantage points. I'm actually down here on this level, but George, my cameraman, is up top. And so if you like to hike, this would be a great opportunity to do a little bit of hiking and to take in some beautiful plants. There's also lots of crocosmia around the garden, and crocosmia is a plant that hummingbirds really love. Check out the size of this fern, and it's got a really bright chartreuse green color. It's really stunning. This large and grand tree is such a beautiful focal point as you're walking through the garden. We did a little bit of a Google search, and it looks like it was planted here in 1845. This is a Moreton Bay fig, and it is native to Australia. Ducks here are so beautiful. They're black and white, which I've never seen a black and white duck, but they also seem to really be enjoying this asparagus fern here. Here's an agapanthus that is actually still in bloom, but this is what they look like. They're really beautiful, little bell-shaped purple flowers. And as they open up, the flower takes on a sphere shape. And here's a white version of the agapanthus or African lily. And this one is just starting to bloom. And this plant here is a type of cactus. In fact, here in San Miguel, I see them growing all over the sides of the road on cliff areas. That's because cactus like dry, well-draining soil. So this variety here is called a sword lily, and it is really beautiful, but also very sharp. Here's another plant that grows beautifully in San Miguel with their subtropical climate. It is the canna lily. These for me in my zone 6B US, I have to grow these only in the summer and I have to lift the tubers to store over winter. Here they can stay planted in ground year round. And look how beautiful this bloom is with this dark foliage. Really pretty. And right behind me is a really large monstera or a philodendron. It's one of the two, but it's offering a place for wildlife to hide because you can hear a ton of birds right behind it. Here on the island of San Miguel, there are actually 3 botanical gardens that you could visit. So if you ever find yourself on the island, you could check out either the Terra Nostra garden, which is located in the Furnish. There's also the Jose de Canto garden, and this one here, which is the Antonio Borges garden. This morning we had a few hours, and so we decided to visit this one because it is walking distance from our hotel. And it's actually quite beautiful, and it's a self-guided tour, so you would just walk around at your own pace. There's actually a playground for children and a little snack bar that you can get a drink, so it's really quite pleasant. So I hope that you've enjoyed walking through the Antonio Borges Botanical Garden with me here in the island of San Miguel in the Azores, Portugal. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. And please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.